Okay, so what do a melted chocolate bar, a botched batch of glue, and a forgotten moldy petri dish all have in common? You guessed it. They're all these amazing, happy accidents that literally change the world. But here's the thing. Is serendipity just dumb luck? Or is there actually a science to it, something we can learn? Well, today, we're going to pull back the curtain on some of history's most famous accidental discoveries and see what's really going on.
So, first up, the microwave. Picture this, it's World War II, and an engineer is working on radar tech, and he notices the chocolate bar in his pocket has completely melted. Just a simple, kind of messy accident, right? But that little moment led to a technology that's now in, every kitchen on the planet. But you gotta wonder, was it just an accident?
And then you've got Post-it notes. This is a great one. A scientist at 3M is trying to make a super strong, super powerful adhesive. But what he gets is, well, the opposite. A weak glue that you can peel right off. A total failure, you'd think. But another scientist at the same company was getting so frustrated because his bookmarks kept falling out of his church hymnal. And suddenly, that failed glue was the absolute perfect solution. It's the classic case of one person's trash becoming another's treasure. For real.
And of course, we have to talk about the most famous one of all, penicillin. You know the story. Alexander Fleming gets back from vacation, finds this mold growing in a petri dish he forgot to clean up. But, and this is the crucial part, instead of just tossing it in the trash, he looks closer and sees something incredible. The mold is actually killing the bacteria around it. But here's a twist you might not know. Fleming made the initial discovery, sure, but it took a whole team of other scientists, like Howard Florey and Ernst Chain, to actually turn that curious observation into the life-saving drug we all know today. It just goes to show you, discovery is almost never a solo act.
So, when you hear all these stories, you have to ask, right? Are these just random one-in-a-million happy accidents? Or is there some kind of pattern here, a hidden ingredient that connects all of them? Well, that's exactly what we're going to find out.
All right, so let's dig in. Are these magic accidents, or is there something more to it? We're going to peel back the layers and see what's really going on behind the curtain.
Okay, so let's get on the same page with a definition. Serendipity is basically the faculty or phenomenon of finding valuable or agreeable things not sought for. But the key words there are valuable and finding. It's not just about accidentally stumbling over something. It's about having the wisdom, the insight to recognize its worth when you see it.
And you know who really nailed this idea? The great scientist Louis Pasteur. He said, "Chance favors only the prepared mind." And that is just so perfect. I mean, think about it. A forgotten petri dish, a melted chocolate bar, little mishaps like that happen to all of us, all the time. But not everyone sees a world-changing drug or a kitchen revolution. The difference is the mind that's doing the seeing.
So that leads to the big question, right? What exactly is a prepared mind? Let's dive into that human element, the secret sauce that turns a totally random event into a massive breakthrough.
Yeah, this is such a crucial distinction to make. Dumb luck, that's totally passive. It's like winning the lottery. You didn't really do anything to make it happen. But serendipity, that's active. It's a random event plus this key ingredient called sagacity. It's a fancy word, but it just means having the wisdom and insight to connect the dots. Without that sagacity, Fleming's moldy petri dish is just, well, a moldy petri dish that gets thrown in the bin.
And this sagacity stuff, it's not some kind of mystical power. It's really just a combination of very real, very human traits. People who are good at this, let's call them serendipitists, they usually have a deep well of knowledge to draw from. But they're also super alert, they're intensely curious, and they have this open-mindedness that lets them see connections that everyone else just walks right past. They're not just looking for one specific answer to their problem, they're open to any answer from any direction.
I absolutely love this concept, aching ignorance. It sounds kind of negative, but it's not about being clueless at all. It's the exact opposite. It's about being so deeply aware of what you don't know that it almost hurts. You have this problem you're wrestling with, this question you can't solve, and that ache is what makes your mind the perfect fertile ground for an unexpected solution to suddenly pop up and take root.
Okay, so we've covered the individual mindset. That's huge, but the environment you're in, that's just as important. Look, you can't force serendipity to happen on command, but what you can do is create the conditions where it's much more likely to thrive. So, let's talk about how you can actually design for discovery.
And this chart here just lays it out perfectly. You've got two extremes. On one side, you have a rigid, mechanistic organization. To them, anything unexpected is a distraction, a bug in the system that needs to be stamped out. But on the other side, you have a more flexible, organic organization. They see the unexpected as an opportunity. They actually embrace it because they know that's where the real, game-changing innovation comes from.
And this isn't just about company culture. It extends to the actual physical spaces we're in. I mean, think about a good old-fashioned library. You go to find the one book you need, and right next to it is a book you never even knew existed, but it's exactly what you were looking for. Or you look at the campuses of places like Pixar and Google. They are literally designed to force people from different departments to bump into each other. These inadvertent encounters are engineered. Even some cool museums like the Pitt Rivers in Oxford do this, by arranging their stuff by what it does, not when it was made, forcing your brain to make all these cool new connections.
So, what's the big takeaway here? It's that this isn't just for huge companies or Nobel Prize-winning scientists. Nope, every single one of us can actively cultivate more serendipity in our own lives. And I'm going to tell you how. Okay, so researchers have boiled it down to a few key behaviors. Number 1, vary your routine. Seriously, just take a different way to work. Read a magazine you'd never normally pick up. It introduces new, random triggers into your day. 2, be observant. I mean, really pay attention to the stuff on the edges, the things you usually tune out. 3, learn to embrace improvisation. When something unexpected pops up, don't just freak out and try to get back on schedule. Play with it a little. And finally, number 4, expand your network. Make a real effort to talk to people outside of your usual bubble. That's where the truly fresh ideas are hiding.
And check this out. Here's a fantastic, real-world example of that last point. It's called the randomized coffee trial. Some companies literally do this. They use a program to randomly pair up employees from totally different departments and send them out for a coffee break. It's so simple, it costs almost nothing, and it's an intentional way to engineer those conversations that cross-pollinate ideas. It's basically institutionalized serendipity. How cool is that?
But all of this brings us to a really interesting modern-day paradox. We live in a world with infinite information at our fingertips, right? A world that is supposedly designed for discovery. So why does it feel like we might actually be becoming less serendipitous?
I mean, just think about it for a second. Our entire digital lives are run by algorithms. And what are those algorithms really good at? Giving us more of what we already like. They can create this illusion of serendipity, when it recommends something new and you're like, wow, how did it know? But it's not a real discovery. It's just a very, very good guess based on all your past behavior. It puts us in this comfortable, but ultimately very limiting echo chamber.
And this actually has a pretty dark side, which some folks have started calling manipulative serendipity. This is when that feeling of a surprise discovery is engineered, but not to expand your mind. No, it's just to keep you scrolling. It creates what's known as a compulsion loop. You get an unpredictable little reward, a new video or a surprising article, and that keeps you hooked, always looking for that next little hit of novelty. So here's the big question I want to leave you with. We've seen that serendipity isn't magic. It's this powerful engine for discovery that needs 2 things: a chance event and a prepared, curious mind to notice it. But as we build this digital world that's getting more and more efficient, more and more personalized, are we accidentally getting rid of the very things that make serendipity possible? Are we smoothing out all the friction, the randomness, the happy little accidents that lead to real breakthroughs? Are we, in effect, designing the surprise right out of our own lives? Definitely something to think about.